Welcome back to the Trick Talking Meat podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brother John, and with me as always, Spoiled Bat, the alley cat.
Yo.
Here she goes. What'd it do?
You do good.
Well, we're coming back to you live from the John Radisson, deep within Quark's Bar and Gaming Emporium here. We're going to today talk about video games, apparently, because
Yes.
Allie said we're talking about games. Let's talk about video games.
We gotta talk about it because I am beyond stoked. I am a big Dragon Age fan, and after 10 years of a cliffhanger of an ending, we are finally getting the conclusion in Dragon Age the Veilguard. And I am just so excited, and it's weird because I never thought it would happen. So, video games.
This is an RPG of some sort.
It's kind of like an action RPG, really.
Dating sim.
What's that?
And plus
A
dating,
dating sim?
Oh,
Is that
most
what it is?
definitely.
Are people hooking up on Dragon Age?
Yeah, they do.
Really? Like in real life, like they meet like a dwarf in the game and then they
Yeah.
go hook up in like a shady Ramada Inn in Dallas Fort Worth?
I mean,
That's not a no.
yep. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah,
Gaming
no,
has
no.
gotten so weird now, man. It's different from when I started. As you can see, everything behind me, this is what the shit I grew up with right here. Pac-Man, Dig Dug, and then it got all complicated. I don't know what happened along the way, but something changed.
My favorite game growing up was on the Commodore 64.
Was it Oregon Trail? It was Oregon Trail,
No,
wasn't
it was not. I hated
you get
Oregon,
dysentery?
Oregon Trail. I hated it because I could never get
The-
further than like the second river.
Because the dysentery?
No, well, either dysentery or my cows drowned, or
Because that
you know,
happens. I think I go even further back to the arcade games. My first system I remember was an Intellivision, but I don't think anybody listening here, unless you're like over the age of 40, you probably wouldn't even remember that either.
Yeah, my dad liked going to arcades, and so like he's always been someone who wanted the latest, technology thing when it comes to games. Like it was always games. That's the reason why he always got it. So we had Commodore 64, we had an Atari, I think we had a ColecoVision at one point.
ColecoVision.
Coleco.
Yeah.
But I think that was the broad jump from Intellivision. I think most of the people that had Ataris wanted the arcade game experience. And they were close,
Yeah.
but, for like, what was it, 1981, 82, something like that.
Right.
Something.
Yeah, it was close, but the same concept, but very, very poor at that point.
Yeah.
Nothing like Call of Duty, whatever they're on this time.
Yeah.
Call
No.
of Duty Shoot a Man.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that what it is, really? Or we just
No,
messed up?
no,
Like, I
no.
wouldn't have doubted
it's,
it.
That's a
what is,
meme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a meme. He's gonna,
I think it was College
Call of
Humor
Duty,
that-
shoot a man.
College Humor did the thing with the father coming out of the den after like 6 months of deployment on Call of Duty, and his family missed him, and his wife had gotten remarried, and like it was great.
Are we on what, 6?
Call of Duty?
No, it's way
Or
more
are
than
we
6.
higher than
Oh, it's
that?
way more than 6.
Because they did like the mainline games and the Black Ops games.
Well,
the
yeah,
Modern
but do
Warfare
those
games.
And then there were like,
So if you combine all of them, we're like.
But I
don't
mean
know.
numbered ones. Is this one that they...
I don't think they've numbered it.
I don't even think they
Wow.
number them anymore. It's kind of like Madden. It's just
Yeah.
the season is whatever
Yeah.
the year is.
Yeah.
We just put another number on the box and re-release the same
Which,
piece
man,
of shit for
that's one
$70.
thing. Seasons. I hate this whole season crap. I really do. Like,
Well, that was the difference between an Atari or an 8-bit Nintendo system, and microtransaction gaming has ruined everything.
yeah. Yeah.
It's like, to me, microtransactions on a game is like admitting that I just sold you a half-done piece of shit. Like, we want $100 up front, but you're going to give us another $30 or $40 in 6 months to get the rest of it.
Yeah.
So what was the deal? Are you just saying that you weren't finished yet, and like now I've got to pay the dues to keep going? That's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword. Because there's the stuff like that comes out and it's
Sure.
half finished. Then there's stuff like
Like No Man's Lie. Sorry.
yeah.
Don't say that. He likes it. He
Do you
loves
play
it.
No Man's
Yeah.
Sky?
Now,
Okay, so I bought it when it first hit, like
see, I
first
did
day.
not because
Well, right, and that dude was so full of shit. Like all the stuff they said you could do in the game, like there's no way you'll ever run into your friend. And they had, like literally within hours of release, there were people posting photos of like we're in the exact same spot. And you're right, we don't see each other because I guess that's not a thing in the game.
Yeah.
but it is
Yep.
now.
Hmm.
Yeah. No,
They tell me that they've improved this game by leaps and bounds.
Oh yeah, it's closer to and in some ways beyond what the original promise was.
Sure.
Um,
But
you
at
know,
this point, I was like, to hell with you. I'm going back
No.
to Star Trek Online.
totally
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, that
But
thing's
like-
got a ton of bugs too, but
Yeah.
it, you know, you can go to the Defiant and go
But
to
it's
Deep
like
Space Nine.
I know
and that's way
Fallout
cooler.
76 was another one
Well-
that kind of had a rocky
First
start.
See, it gets a lot of flack.
I mean, it
For the-
does.
But
for
I
the
have
bugs.
friends
But
that'll
for the
tell you that
bugs.
Fallout 76 is like their best
It's a
online
great
game they've ever played.
It really is a great
Now.
the
game.
game until they fixed it, quote unquote.
Fixed
now
it.
it's a hunking pile of shit, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's such a shame too, because we got like what? Fallout 5 won't be out for a hot minute, yeah?
Yeah, it'd be a while.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Are they on
long
5 or
time.
6?
Five.
They're on 5.
Five.
They'll be 5.
We're on 5.
Right.
Yeah, 76 when it first came out, like I liked the fact that there were no NPCs. I
Right.
loved
Yeah.
that feeling of just being completely isolated and alone. And then they quote unquote fixed it and added NPCs, and it's like, okay, well now I don't feel special, and all these settlers and Brotherhood of Steel motherfuckers are sitting in my camping spot.
Yeah.
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 It kind of
I-
negates the entire purpose of the game.
Yeah, can I blow them all up and just take my spot back? No? Well, shit.
Yeah, because they marked it off. So
Yeah.
But video games have come a long way, and that's
Oh, yeah.
They
another
have,
one,
they
Red
have.
Dead Redemption Online. Just Rockstar completely dropped the game. That game was amazing. The rootin' tootin' cowboy shooting
yeah.
online experience, man. And like, they just out of right field decided, you know what? We're not going to support this anymore. We're going to give you free shirts and a cowboy hat occasionally, but there's no new content for this game. And the game was amazing. What happened?
They neutered it in more ways than one.
Right? No zombie nightmare add-on, no nothing, man. It was just
yeah.
I put so many hours into Red Dead Redemption Online. It was
I know, me
just
too, man.
disgusting. I mean,
I
I literally
shockingly have not played that one. That's one that was during. Was that during my one of my Final Fantasy?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I went into my GTA 5
Spurts.
account and and I've been playing it since it came out, and I think it was
Yeah.
like 2013. Was
There's
that when it
Yeah,
showed up?
so
PS3.
much.
Yeah.
You know, from PlayStation
2 generation consoles ago. And I'm still playing it to this day. Still great, still viable, still a hell of a lot of fun. But I looked on there and saw the total amount of hours. I think it broke down to like I've spent like 9 months of my life.
Oh my god.
Literally 9 months of life to
Yeah.
that game
Yeah.
over the last, 10 years, 12 years, whatever it is.
I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. I've been subscribed to it for over 3,000 days. I don't know how many hours I've put into it, but it is significant. But that's been 10 years of my life. Years.
And you're probably too young to remember this, but I remember on the PC video gaming when it was kind of on the rise. How many hours did I spend in school playing Doom or Wolfenstein 3D
Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
on the
I'm,
lab
I'm
computer
old,
where we're not supposed to be playing
Yeah.
video
I'm
games?
old enough for that. Yep.
The
Did you
first,
play Doom?
Yeah.
the first mods, what was it? Wolfenstein, where you shoot Barney.
Yeah.
Yep.
You didn't need the mods. It was Nazis, man. What else do you need to?
I know, right?
It's like here's a gun and
yeah.
here's
No,
a hallway, and
you still got to kill the Nazis, but then every so often
They were just Barney Nazis.
Barney shows up, and it's like, dude,
I think that there's
yeah.
been like weird landmark games over the years that have come and gone. I think it started.
King's Quest.
King's Quest was
Oh, man,
amazing on the PC.
Yeah.
I remember the old dialogue games like that. That's all it was just text based, and you had
Yeah.
choices that you
Yeah.
would make, and you'd get more text.
Yeah.
The original OG Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for the
Yeah.
286 computer, way back in the day. I mean, this is like 85, 86, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Well,
I was trying
it's-
to explain what a 286 and 386 computer was to our nephew.
486.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
god.
it was very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it was so confusing back in those days because you had the IBM, whatever model number, and then just Apple.
Yeah.
And Apple was just
Yeah.
throwing their giant cock around like, hey, look, this is our computer for the year. You're going to love it or
Yeah.
you hate it.
It's an Apple.
The Apple
It's
II.
this year.
And then they got really clever. Now it's the Apple II. And now they're still doing it to this day with the
Yeah.
iPhone 17 or 19 or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck,
Yep.
I don't even know what generation
don't know
they're
what
on.
iPhone they're on
I'm
anymore.
an Android user.
My
so-
wife gets pissed off at me because she's an Apple person. I'm an Android person.
Yep. Yep.
I just it's more 1980s. What are you laughing for? Do you have this problem too? Or
No, I'm just imagining like a revised version of the "I'm a Mac, I'm a PC" commercial with U2.
oh right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'd probably go something like this. Kelly would walk in and be like, "iPhone is so much better. You should go on my account." And then it would be me going, "I'm a Android guy. Go fuck yourself."
Yep.
Nothing against Apple. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's great stuff, but it just seems to me like every year they're just putting a new number on the box.
I always just needed it for my illustration. That's the only time that I ever needed it.
Well, see, that's
So
the
I got it
difference. I don't have any
it for
talent.
college.
Right. I don't
And
have any.
so, yeah.
We record this show on a MacBook, don't we? Is that what
No.
we're using, or is that
No,
what I
we
have
are,
here?
We are
That's-
using a Surface Studio 2.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill. But my
Sometimes
wife wants
it's
me to.
my-
But I
That's
do all the
my
bonus
baby.
material on this thing on an
That-
Apple MacBook, and I have no idea how to use this thing.
That
I haven't used a Mac
laptop-
since like second grade, man.
That was part of the reason why
Yeah.
we started using this one, because I couldn't find the files
Right?
to upload anything.
Oh, right. So when I do record stuff onto that one, it's gonna be a pain in the ass, is what you're saying.
Kelly will be able to help.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly can do anything she wants, like on.
But
an
I
Apple.
wouldn't-
But see, the thing is that the Apple the Apple computer doesn't have a folder that OBS actually just like goes to. Meanwhile, my computer, my Surface, you want to know the folder that it goes to? It goes to the one with video on it.
Ah, well.
That's all it is.
If Apple was
Video.
smart, and there's too many guys like me that are like, unless you're kind of
You're too
inoculated
complicated.
into this the Apple society, they just ought to do like Apple for Momos, where you get the watch and the tablet and the computer all at once.
Yeah.
Just like, here's how you use all of it, stupid.
Which kind of sucks because like I want Procreate and that's only on Apple at least for now. They've talked about doing a desktop version, but I'll see it when it happens.
But you know what Apple
But-
doesn't do?
Play
video
games.
games. So kiss our ass.
Oh,
Moving
man.
forward,
Yep.
let's go
Yeah.
back.
That's exactly where I was gonna start going. I was,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? You can't play games on it.
Again, our nephew, he was talking to us like, oh man, for Christmas I want a MacBook. I want a MacBook. It's like, well, why do you want a MacBook? Because I want to play games. It's like, then
You're
you're
not-
not going to be able
That's
to play
not
games.
it.
That's not
you want a gaming rig, and you probably spend half the money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my nephew, he's into the PC gaming, and he's always trying to tell me, "I'll build you a tower. I'll build you this, that." And I'm like, I'm old, and I'm almost 50. I can't do it anymore. I was raised with a controller. I can't do the keyboard warrior thing,
You
man.
can-
I
you can
can't.
plug
You
your
can do
controller in.
controller now. Most
That's
of
what
the
they
time.
say, but it's still. It
I
just
do.
seems. I just want to hit the power button and go, "Ooh, picture of game. Play that one." You know.
With my hands, I end up doing controller more than I do the keyboard now.
Yeah, I'm watching him. He's got like left-hand keyboard and another
Oh,
one
God,
on
no.
mouse, and they're
Yeah,
just
no.
going back and forth. He's got multiple keyboards doing all this nonsense, and
that's
I'm
I
like,
crazy.
can't do that.
That's insane.
I think that's probably why I go back to the sandbox games like GTA or Red
Yeah.
Dead, because it's just simple, mindless, nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not accomplishing anything.
Hucking hand grenades and Molotovs.
That's all
into
we do.
traffic.
That's-
Yeah, into traffic. That's all we
How
did.
long can I get away with a 5-star on a bicycle?
Yeah.
You know?
How high can we launch one of these vehicles
Right.
And me jump out of the car.
and jump out of the
in
car at the
midair.
same
The last time I
midair.
logged in, I had like $150 million, and I still get on there every day and try to put money in. If I spend
You
more,
can't
as,
spend
if
money
I
in that game.
Yeah, I've bought like all the clothes and all the cars and all the
Yup.
buildings and all the stuff. I'm just, it's like what was that Free Guy movie with Ryan Reynolds? It's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
it. Like I've plateaued.
Yeah.
I'm ready for a new Grand Theft Auto 6, so I could waste another 9 or 10 months
It's
of my life.
exciting. That's coming out soon.
Do you think they'll make it on time? Do you think Rockstar's going to do it? They're notoriously bad for
No.
like, hey, it's going
I
to be
don't
out this
think
summer.
it'll be on
Well,
time.
considering they keep like saying it's going to come out sooner, I'm like, oh hell no, it's not.
Yeah, no,
Oh
it's
no,
not.
no, it ain't.
But and that's what they need to do. They need to make it to where this is their like
My
first date that they're aiming for. And then they need to just think of another one because they're just
whatever
gonna
they say
surpass
it's going to
that
be,
one.
it's add another 3 to 6 months to it.
Yeah.
So if they're saying like
Yeah.
September of 2025, then you're probably looking at like early spring of 2026.
Yeah.
I've got a bet with my brother too that they're gonna. A lot of people, I don't know if this. I seem to recall that GTA 5 came out, and then like it wasn't like 6 months later, online came out after that. Like you had
Yeah.
to play the
Yeah.
storyline first
Yeah.
for the first few months. It's like, well, sorry, kids, we kind of hosed this part of the game, but here's the story. Go ahead and wear that out while we figure it out.
Yeah.
Which is fine. And I think they're going to probably end up doing the same thing with 6, and that's fine too.
Well, I want to say they said that day one, PlayStation would have GTA, the new GTA Online.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's true, I don't know. Probably won't be.
Yeah.
Probably be delayed.
Is Rockstar
Well, no,
placating to
they'll-
Sony this time? Is that kind of how it worked? Because I know, what was the Bethesda? They went to Xbox, right? Didn't they get
Yeah.
bought
Oh
out?
yeah,
Well,
they got
yeah.
bought.
Which breaks my heart.
Microsoft owns Bethesda.
I'm a huge Elder Scrolls fan, and I guess that's not
Yeah.
going to happen. I think they've reneged on that, though, and they said that they are going to release it on Sony now. It's just going to be later, and you'll get less of it.
Yeah.
I think
Whatever
they've
that
been
decodes
in
to.
the air, yeah.
That seems, and that comes down to, like, you know, limited games and when they're limited to particular, you know, systems. We're seeing a lot more games that, you know, either come out on one system and then the other one gets it, or they get, you know, they get released the same exact day. But then you've also got a lot of crossplay now. Like, I love the fact that, you know, Final Fantasy 14 is completely crossplay. So if you're on a PC, Xbox, one of the PlayStation, because
One
it's
of
on
them.
to what, 2 of them
Yeah,
right
4
now.
and 5.
It's on 4
and 5, yeah.
5.
And then we got a 5
And
Pro
then on
coming,
PC as well. I mean, I have it on both PC and my PlayStation, so it's like,
Now, I will say, crossplay is a double-edged sword.
yeah.
When are they
uh,
going to stop messing around with this, though? Because it seems like anybody like EA Sports would be the biggest proponent, I would think, of being able to play a Madden game against a PlayStation versus an Xbox console owner.
There's a reason for that, and that is the fact that it's EA.
Right. Really,
That-
they don't want it.
Electronic Arts is like, they don't know what they want. Like, honestly, they really don't know what they want.
Well, yeah, they do. They know they want money. I mean, that's
Well,
why they
yeah, that's
dropped
the
the ball
only
on
thing.
Battlefront, too. I mean, that was
Yeah.
the biggest
Yeah.
scam. And again, going back to microtransactions, fuck them and that company, man.
Yeah.
They learned the hard way, and they deserved it.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't. Yeah, I think they said something along in the beginning that Luke Skywalker, for example, was like had to earn like 20,000 credits. They're like, oh yeah, you
Yeah.
can do it in the game, but somebody figured out it would take you like 2 years of playing to get
Yeah.
Oh my-
one guy unlocked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
It was
come
It
ridiculous.
was nuts.
Which is why I'm glad, and that's the amazing thing also
on. Why
about
I play Star Trek Online,
Dra-
y'all.
yeah, about Dragon
It's
Age
free.
is this particular one doesn't have any microtransactions, no online. It doesn't even have any online authentication. So which is an incredible thing for gaming nowadays.
I think it's incredible that Rockstar, again, with Grand Theft Auto 5, after all these years, we're still not having to pay for new stuff.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
that's going to change on the new game, for sure.
probably.
They've already kind of started buttering us up with this GTA Plus membership thing.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to they're kind of lubing us up, getting us ready for the fact that we're going to have to pay
Well,
monthly to play GTA Online.
They might do like a
basic
free
version,
a basic
yeah.
version where you don't pay, but
Yeah.
you don't get anything extra.
And
Right.
it's
And then another
like
version where you
things
get
annoy
all
you.
the shit.
Right.
Like an MMO.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's fine, I guess. But as long as I can just get it, and you know, it's funny because I don't ever play online with anybody anyway. I play with my brother in Seattle, and that's about it. That's the only person I literally. If somebody gets on here and says, "Oh man, I was playing whatever," with no, you weren't.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you weren't, because I'm not getting online. I don't need a 10-year-old calling me a cocksucker or
Right?
some homophobic reference because I'm, getting respawn killed every 3 seconds.
Yeah,
I don't
and-
do it.
Yeah, I
And,
had that happen playing Ghostbusters.
Really, Ghostbusters, a video game.
The new Ghostbusters game, yeah.
The
The
multiplayer one.
The
oh
multiplayer.
Spirits
okay.
Unleashed.
Okay, no, I haven't played that yet. I played like the Ghostbusters 3 video game they
It's
did.
actually
Yeah, it's
well,
basically that.
yeah.
Really?
Just multiplayer.
Just
Really?
multiplayer, yeah.
I'm like a
and
big-ass
like one of you gets to
Ghostbusters
be the
fanatic.
ghost.
And then you play that what on PlayStation or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll totally buy that tonight. We'll play that.
Well,
I might
think
play
it's- I
against
think
you.
It's free.
Oh, is it?
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
For
Alright.
October.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so snag it if you can,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, hell, I'll
But
play
no,
that
it's
with you.
been-
Okay,
that's
well,
been
now I play
fun.
online with like 3 people: Allie, Josh, and my brother
Yeah.
in Seattle. Everybody else can fuck off, up a rope, whatever. But yeah, the Ghostbusters game was amazing from a
Oh,
few years
yeah.
ago. Had all it was Ivan, Harold Ramis's last
Yeah.
go was Egon
Yeah.
too. Sadly,
Yeah.
rest in peace, Egon, man.
But they all
So I
grow
guess now
into
we
it.
should kind of probably talk about where were the landmarks in video gaming. I think, obviously Atari 2600 was huge, and then it kind of had
Yeah.
its falling out in about 86,
Yeah.
and then
Around the time Nintendo popped up.
Nintendo Entertainment
Yep.
System comes along, and they're not selling a video game, they're selling you a toy. And I
And
like a toy.
Yeah.
I love toys. That'll be
Well,
probably the next episode.
And the reason, I don't know if you know the reason for that. It was because of our lead restrictions. If we couldn't have it as a toy, is that what it was? That we couldn't have it.
That's what happened around the time the 360 and everything came out.
Oh, okay.
That generation of consoles couldn't use lead soldering.
That's it. Yeah.
Right.
And so
Because
that's
the
where the
toy
Red Ring
safety
of Death
stuff
came
had
from.
gone
right,
through,
right, right.
and nothing could
That's
be
right.
considered a toy
That's
if
right.
it had lead in it.
So now
But I
it's
know
back to
there's-
full on gaming. We're video games.
Yeah.
We're not toys anymore. Because I mean, I had the original Nintendo 8-bit system. It came
Yep.
with Robbie the Robot, the most useless
Those
damn
had
thing
lead.
on the planet.
Mine-
Those had lead.
Those had lead in them.
This is how I didn't even have a game with mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you got like the core system.
Yes,
You
I
got the
did.
bone on Christmas Day. So,
I
parents
got
didn't fuck
the
you like that, did they?
Original. I still have it.
really?
Yeah, it's at my dad's.
Oh, I want it.
No, that's mine.
So you got a gaming system for Christmas, a toy, and there was no way to play it. You had no games with it on Christmas morning. That's the saddest fucking thing ever.
That would be really sad. But we did.
Like, here's
we
the
did
greatest
end up
toy of
getting
1987,
Super Mario
sorry.
Brothers with like
You're getting the bone.
alongside.
But it didn't have the gun with it. Like
No,
the duck hunt.
not my first system. I
Did
had
you know you
two
could
of
shoot the
them.
dog?
The second
Did everybody try
system-
and shoot the dog?
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
But you can
everybody-
only shoot the dog on Sega.
Right.
Yep.
Sega!
But honestly, one of the I'm trying to think of the word, but like when it comes to advancements, that's the word I'm looking for. In gaming, what I really think of and where we can really see that is portable gaming. So like, the Switch and the
Well, if you
Wii
go
U
way
and everything.
far
but
back
if you
to
go
the-
back to
the
the
Nintendo-
Game Boy and
Even before that, the Gaming Watch. You remember those?
that's right.
Yeah, and the little handhelds that Nintendo made back in the early 80s. The
Yeah.
little Gaming Watch
Yeah,
systems.
Nintendo and Tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Tiger handheld gaming, those little stupid LCD things that were
Yeah.
worthless.
Yeah.
But I had probably a dozen of them.
Yep, I had a bunch of them. But honestly, I think the one that made the most advancement out of them has to be
Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy.
Well-
You're fired.
I mean, I had a Virtual,
I had a Virtual Boy.
too.
I had one of them, but I
That's
actually was working as a Toys R Us employee, and I would
We
just say with
won it.
5-finger discounted that thing. When they were throwing the display away. They used to have one on display so you could show the world how terrible it
Floor
really
model.
was. Right,
Yeah.
and they were just going to dump it in the trash. I was like, I'll have that.
They used to call those pink eye machines.
Yeah.
We won it. We won it. We were at the mall, and I don't know what exactly we had to
Did
do
you
to
really
win?
win?
It, but we
Did you
all right.
really win?
I know, right?
No, Virtual Boy. No, what was the biggest? What were you saying before? Shitbag or
sorry.
whatever.
The Game Gear. Honestly, to me, I think the Game Gear was the biggest advancement when it comes to the portable gaming because it was the first time that we had
Color.
Color.
Before
exactly.
the spinach puke green Tetris screens
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And I would agree with that. Game Gear was a pretty big leap.
I mean,
Especially
Game Gear
for
was
the stuff-
awesome.
And then I think that TurboGrafx, they had the Lynx too, didn't they? Was that
Yes.
another
The Lynx.
handheld?
Yes, that
Yeah.
is
The
Josh's
Lynx came
grail.
out around the time. No, the Jaguar.
The Jaguar.
I mean,
Jaguar.
I want
did
the
the
Lynx too,
Yeah.
because they kind of hand in
They
hand.
they went hand in hand. That
Jaguar.
thing was awesome. And
Yeah.
then
He's been looking for a while.
I
Yep.
think the 8-bit Nintendo just came in there and just crushed
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Like no, you had to be there in '87, man. Like
Yeah.
if you were a little kid, I was 10 years old in '87. Like that thing was insanely cool. Like, and just the variety of gaming you had. I think they ended up with 800 plus cartridges toward the end of that thing.
Wow.
And
yeah.
then Genesis comes along and totally torpedoes that.
Yeah.
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 Sega
With that
becomes the dominant
16-bit.
16-bit. See, that's how we registered it back in the day. It was
Yeah.
8-bit, 16,
Yep.
But see,
32-bit.
that was the start of the console wars.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. That's how
And
it
Sega
started.
sadly lost, even though it had
Yep.
everything going for it. The Master System, it's all right, but
The
Marketing.
Genesis.
the
Oh.
Genesis thing was awesome. I remember the marketing on the
The
thing. You're right.
marketing was crazy.
Genesis does what
But
Nintendo don't.
that's the whole thing, though, is that the marketing for Nintendo was aimed more towards the younger audience, and so the parents approved of it a whole lot more. Meanwhile, you've got the Sega stuff,
No.
which is weird as fuck.
My thing
Parents are like, oh, like they never liked it, so they were all like, well, this is the bad system, this is the good system.
What was the light side and dark side? You had the gray
Yeah.
one, and then you had the black one.
Yeah, that's
Well,
exactly it.
for me as a kid, like straight up, since they still had arcades when that was all going down, the console
yeah.
was started. And the big thing for Genesis with me was that you got the exact port from the arcade. Like, it wasn't like a
Yeah.
choppy shit
What-
version of the same game.
What was,
it was
the chain? King's Dominion? Is that one of them? Or or is that one of my local
in
ones?
the biggest. Well, there was the. What, you talking about arcades?
Yeah.
There
the
was
name of them.
what was it? There was gold mine arcades. Those were pretty big throughout the West. See, I grew up in like Colorado and Arizona and out west, and they looked like like mining caves when you went in there. It was all dark, and the walls were like stone, like had been mined out, and they just threw arcade. It was awesome. Those places were the
That's
shit.
pretty cool.
They were really cool. I don't know what you're talking about. There was like a King something. It was an arcade, but it looked like a castle on the inside.
Yeah,
of it. And they usually had putt golf.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember that was the biggest thing, and the biggest one I remember the big debate when I was in elementary school is when Mortal Kombat came out on
Yep.
Genesis and Super Nintendo.
Oh, that's
and that,
how it started.
and if you had a Super Nintendo, you were asked out from that day
Yep.
forward because like,
So-
oh, you don't get blood on that one. That's for the kids, and that's what killed it.
So, question.
Yeah.
Sure.
Question. Were you the kid who snuck over to a friend's house to play Mortal Kombat?
No, I
Or
had
were
it.
you the kid who had it?
No, my
I-
mom was a Toys R Us manager, bro. She didn't, and she was never home. They didn't give a shit. They snuck over to my house to play video games.
We-
That's what I was asking.
Yeah,
We-
no,
we
and you were
were-
gladly invited over, like, because it was like the arcade, just without the quarters on the machine, you know.
I was a sneaker because we were a Nintendo family.
Right.
That's what it is. I mean, I have had every single Nintendo system. I didn't have the 64,
I
but
didn't
that's
have a Super
because I
Nintendo.
that was because I had the PlayStation.
Right.
So
You missed out. 64
yeah.
was a brilliant piece of technology.
But which I'll get to something on that too. But
Well, we're not going to skip over GoldenEye because
I
that's like a
used
whole
to-
podcast
Oh,
by
yeah.
itself. But
I used to sneak over to a friend's house to play it. So, yep.
what, GoldenEye?
No.
Oh,
No, Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. And it wasn't just Mortal Kombat though. It was Altered Beast. It was Golden Axe.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Super Thunderblades. I mean, they had everything. Hang on, all the arcade shit. Strider was in there. Ghosts and Goblins. I mean, you named
Yeah.
it. They had like the
Well,
good port.
When you got the 32X, you got Doom.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got a proper version of Doom
Yeah.
too, no less. I
Yeah.
actually beta tested that piece of shit.
Nice.
Yeah, I was in high school in Longmont, Colorado, and they hired a bunch of high school kids to test
That's
games
awesome.
for that thing. Sega CD and
Mhm.
which is the pioneer, I think, long before PlayStation thought of it.
Yeah,
And
it
then
was.
32X, and you would play these games for like a solid week and a half, and then you'd tell them what you think about it, and you'd tell them all these little questionnaires at the end of it, and they let you keep it. And it's like, well, after you've sat every day after school for like 4 hours in a cubicle playing the same game,
See,
day in
games,
and day out, you were just
game
like, eh.
companies used to do that a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
You know, I
They
mean,
were based out of
there was a
Denver.
really big, advantage to being a beta tester at that point.
Well, see, when I was in middle school, we had a
Yeah.
computer club, quotation marks.
club.
All it was basically
The nerds that all had a copy of Doom on disc,
well, it was
a full copy.
Did you see the movie Toys with Robin
Yeah.
Williams? When they like go into that back room and there's like all these kids like
Yep.
testing out these war games.
Yep.
That's kind of what it was. It was the computer lab, but after school, the computer teacher would.
He's reading a
set up
magazine and taking a shit. He didn't care what you
Yeah,
were
no,
doing.
no, but he had all these game systems set up because
Really?
we were demo testing, beta testing the games.
Oh wow,
Like
okay.
at the end, we had like
Like it was legit. Like,
yeah, like
okay.
it was a like he set up a whole thing, and so at the end of each day, we had a little questionnaire we had to fill out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably getting a
What-
side
what did
kickback on
Yeah,
that.
oh yeah,
He was getting
absolutely.
some kind of
But it
kickback
was-
from somebody on that
Yeah,
one.
it was like, what game did
Yeah.
you play?
It was only
What did you
slightly
think?
shady,
What
yeah.
happened? Yeah, like
right.
oh shit, what was that game? Night Trap.
Oh, Night Trap, man.
Night
that
Trap
game
was
was
there.
fucking brilliant.
We were in friggin' middle school, beta testing Night Trap.
I remember when that game came out, I was doing that game too. And they were saying how it was like banned in 28 European countries. I have that now on my Nintendo Switch. I bought it for $3 just because if you've never played Night Trap, it's like the first cinematic game they ever kind of did. And it was supposed to be vampires, but they couldn't do blood, so then they became like auger zombie things.
Yeah,
and
there were like ninjas thrown in. out of
yeah, with
nowhere.
ninjas. Just if you've never seen, I tell everybody go online to YouTube and just watch Night Trap as a
Yeah.
continuous video. The game wasn't all that much fun, but I think everybody bought it just for the sake of like, ooh, it was banned. Ooh,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's I think where Mortal Kombat got a lot of its popularity.
hype from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fatalities were
It's
all.
the
Yeah.
game you can't play.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I thought was brilliant about Midway doing that game the way they did, because the fatalities were such a huge pain in the ass to pull off. Like
Yeah.
you had to be like Poindexter just to get even, and there was no internet there either. So it's not like you could just
Yeah.
look up on your phone, like, okay, how do you rip the guy's spine out? Like
Yeah.
this was
Yeah.
a very trial
You
and
had
error
to
thing.
you had to get the book.
You had to
There's
get the
a
book.
Mortal Kombat behind
Have a
us.
friend who knew how to do it, who could teach you, and they
Yeah.
never would. Because
Right.
they didn't want you using it on them.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was the whole thing. Nobody ever shared how to do
Yeah.
it with
Or
anybody
going
because,
to,
like, that was like the punk out at the arcade. Like, fucker, I got you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did friendships where I thought it was brilliant because that was like just more insulting than anything.
Babalities. Where you turn
Babalities.
them into a baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were really
started
reaching
doing
by
a lot
Ultimate
of-
Mortal Kombat though. But there was a number of clones, and that started a whole fighting game genre because you had Street Fighter. I think was like the first one really,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it was Street Fighter 2.
And then
And
you
I
had
wore the shit out of that game too. And then it's Street Fighter Champion Edition. Then you could use Vega, which was huge shit, and Bison. And
Yep.
then Mortal Kombat. And then you had like Primal Rage and Killer Instinct, and there
Eternal
was just
Champions.
the Eternal Champion. There was
Yep.
like a slew
Marvel
of
versus Capcom.
what is
Yeah.
it? Bad Dudes? Was that a fighting game? I can't remember.
Bad Dudes was a side scroller.
Right. What
Yeah.
was the one that was like that cage fighting game that they did? It was crappy. It was a Data East game. I can't remember. Anyway, whole mountain of like clones, and just like everything else, like then the shooters came along, and that was like the big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the best shooter of all time? First person
Oh,
shooter.
Goodness, that one, that's rough. It's hard
I know what
because,
my favorite
like, okay,
is.
so I don't normally play first person shooters, but I have to say, out of all of them, shoot, what is it? Half-Life.
Half-Life, yeah. It did start the Half-Life engine.
Yeah.
Used
Half-Life,
still on
which
games
brought
today.
which brought on Portal, which kind of is a shooter, but it's more of a puzzle game. But still, it
Portal,
brought Portal.
Left 4 Dead, all the stuff.
Left
that
4 Dead
only
was
exists
great.
because of Half-Life.
Yeah, yeah.
I think my favorite of all time is going to be, and I'm a PlayStation guy, but Halo was still the greatest shooter of all time.
Yeah, I know
The
a lot
story,
of people like
the
Halo.
science fiction aspect to it, that's what sold it to me. It's not just Call of Duty where I'm just going to kill the other 12-year-olds on the internet today.
I just remember doing LAN parties when those actually happened with friends, and we played Counter-Strike was one of
Yes,
them,
yes.
and Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Half-Life
we
2.
used to do the deathmatch, and what's great
Chucking
about it,
toilets
we
at
used
each
to
other.
chuck toilets at each other just constantly.
Grab gun match.
Yep.
It's like only grab guns.
Yep.
If you're
Yep.
using anything else, you're a cheap ass.
Yep.
What do you think, Josh? What's the greatest shooter of all time? It could be a series, I guess. Well, I don't know if you say that, then because there were some weak spots in Halo, man.
Yeah. I know it's rough.
It's a tough call because there's so many that like. Okay, so like Borderlands.
Yeah.
Loved the first two,
Borderlands was great.
but then it kind of started going downhill.
Well, because
Yeah.
they didn't do anything new or innovative
Yeah.
with it. It was just the same two-cell shading game that it had
Yeah.
always been,
Yeah.
which is cool. It was kind of clever at the time.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Destiny when it came out.
Yeah, we did play
And then it-
Destiny a
and then it
whole
kinda
lot.
just tanked for me over time.
Right.
I hear it's back up again though. That it
Yeah.
might be worth
I mean,
playing again.
If we're talking like strictly first person, I would say Cyberpunk. But
Well,
first person
well-
shooter specific, Blood.
Mm,
Blood.
interesting.
That game was perfect.
I can't remember.
So what's the first game you think you wore out? Like, what's the first one that you just swallowed your soul for weeks at a time? And,
Oh God, Kingdom Hearts.
Very easy for me to answer. My eyeballs started bleeding.
Really?
Dragon Warrior 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting choice. Is that for the 8-bit Nintendo or?
Yeah.
Yeah, the old
Yeah.
Dragon War. Didn't they give that game away at one point with like Nintendo Power? Or is that Star Tropics?
That might have been Star Tropics.
There was a game I know that was like that came out, was supposed to be all the rage and nobody bought it, so they started just giving it away with Nintendo Power subscriptions.
Because if you try to track down an original NES version of Dragon Warrior 3, you're
Right.
going to be paying 3 figures.
Yeah, easy, $250,
Yeah.
$300.
It's insane.
I-
It's like one of the few games that actually hits that milestone.
I think it was Kingdom Hearts that I hit the limit for the time.
You lived and breathed that.
I was in that a lot. Dragon Age is another one. Inquisition, I have over 300 hours in that one.
I think the OG Zelda was my first
Oh.
one.
We spent a
nice.
lot on Zelda.
The
yeah,
old original,
Earthbound was great.
the
I know my
original
dad
Zelda
played
on the
that
8-bit
one.
Nintendo had that gold cartridge, super cool.
Yep.
Just trying to find those damn
Beautiful.
dungeons, burning every tree in the land with a blue candle.
That's what
dangerous to go alone.
started.
Take
Take
this
this.
with you.
Yeah, that's what started the need that I have to pick everything up,
Yep.
to loot everybody, and get pissed off when I've hit my weight limit because there's no more room
I'm
in
the
my
biggest-
pack or something like that.
I can't play RPGs anymore like Skyrim because I will look in every dresser, every
Yup.
dumpster, I will
Yup.
pack rat, and I've got it
That's
all
me.
organized out because I'm like, I don't know why that's in there, but I'm gonna need it sooner or later. And sure enough, you're gonna run into some NPC somewhere down the road that needs like 100 spatulas
Yeah.
in
or,
Fallout.
was it Skyrim, like walk around with like 100 copies of the Lusty Argonian or something like that?
Right, right. So you're gonna
Well,
need all this useless crap
yeah.
somewhere. They're gonna be like, ha! We told you should have been picking this bullshit up.
But that's what opened up like all of that and the completionist in me. I mean,
The
I'm a
Legend of Zelda.
major completionist. Was just playing in Zelda. And the funny thing is that I was so young with Zelda that I actually never finished Zelda. Like I played it so much, but I actually never finished it because I was too busy burning things down and smashing pots and all of that. So that's I know I'm a horrible gamer.
I did the same thing. I walked around that entire map on the original Zelda and burned every tree,
Yeah.
pushed every damn boulder in
My
all
dad
four
did
directions.
finish it though. My dad did finish it, and I remember watching. And then he played a lot of RPGs. He really likes the RPGs.
So I guess the next question would be is what is the one game that pissed you off the most? Either just for
that's
being
also really
purely
hard.
terrible or just so mind frustratingly difficult that you just broke a controller and said to hell with this, I'm never playing this again. I know what mine are.
There
Ninja
are a
Gaiden.
couple.
Ninja Gaiden, really?
Ninja Gaiden.
You just
Fuck
sucked.
Ninja Gaiden.
No, just kidding.
Have you finished that one yet? Still,
No.
The Sigma?
No, that goddamn boss. No.
He's
Fuck
still
Ninja Gaiden.
really. Which system was that on? The OG one or?
The PS3 one.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah,
the
the remake.
Sigma, the remake. Yeah.
Fuck that game.
No, he was fighting that bad guy for hours.
Battletoads.
Okay.
Fuck that game.
Oh,
Everybody
God,
hates
yes.
Battletoads
Oh,
on
yeah.
the 8-bit Nintendo.
Fucking
That one
Battletoads.
or that sewer level shit from the original Ninja Turtle game on the 8-bit
Yeah,
Nintendo
oh.
where you get electrocuted.
A boy in his blob.
First game. Boy
A
and his
boy
blob.
in his
Really?
blob.
Yeah.
Did he review that? What a crock of shit
It was
that game was?
impossible. It was impossible. Like literally, it was
there was a sewer
programmed,
part. You couldn't
and it
get
was
past.
impossible to get past that.
Really?
Yeah,
So the game ended basically right there.
right there
Yeah.
in the sewer.
Unless you had a Game
With-
Boy Genie, I
with
guess,
your
and you were
ladder,
invincible.
with your blob
even
shaped
then-
as a
even
ladder
then-
with like this giant.
Even then, you
gap.
couldn't go past
Even
it.
then, it was very difficult. You had to do like very specific things in order to get past it.
I never.
There was a
did.
lot of weird
Anyone who
shit on
says
the
they
old
legitimately
consoles.
beat that game.
Oh,
is
they're full of shit.
And I
Yeah,
was
they're
like
totally full of shit.
7 at this
Anybody
point
that's
in
told
time,
me that,
so...
like, oh, I beat the original Nintendo game of Ninja Turtles, I'm like, oh no shit, I got a copy upstairs. Let's go ahead and throw that in. Show me.
I
Oh,
loved
I can't do it right now. I did it like 30 years. I'm like, yeah, you're full of shit. It's the same asshole who
Yeah.
claims he's got the missile firing backpack, Boba Fett. Oh, I had that. No, you didn't.
more modern ones.
You think you did, but you didn't.
The more modern though, the one that broke my heart was Overwatch, I think. They just started nerfing and changing the characters so much, and then you had all the people getting way too competitive, which is another reason why I hate seasons, is because people get so damn competitive. And it's like, and it ruins the feel of what is a really fun game to me. So that's probably one that really broke my heart because I don't play it anymore. I still
You've
have it
given
on my
up.
system, but I don't play it anymore. If I played it now, I probably would suck at it.
It's like Allie's father always taught her: if you're not good at something, just fucking give up and go do something
No, he
else.
didn't.
No, that's
If
only
he
sense.
Way to
listens,
go, old
if
man.
he listens to this, it's like, Dad, no, you didn't.
No, he
So-
didn't.
Son, you tried, you failed. The lesson to learn:
Just go do
never
something
try.
different. Yeah, never try again. What was
no.
that? Was it Spies Like Us with Harold Ramis when he was just like, "Son, never hit another man unless you can absolutely sure you could get away with it." That would be more like my dad's advice. Like, never hit a man in anger unless you're positive you could get away with it.
Yeah. I mean, that's sound advice to me.
Give him the club punch.
So now we have to go down to another genre, RPGs.
Right.
What was your favorite RPG?
John.
Oh, well, you know what? Come back to me because there's a lot. 'Cause I started again. I'm an old person, so my shit started like way sooner than yours. But King's Quest on the original PC
Oh.
computer,
King's Quest.
and there was like 5 of
Yeah.
them, and they were
Yeah.
all fucking excellent. Like everyone, and I
Yeah.
think they re-released them on Sony PlayStation.
Yeah,
You
they
can
did.
buy them. They're kind of a cartoony version of the
Yeah.
same thing, but they're not nearly as good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cartooniness through it.
I remember just
Nostalgia
dying in the
for
lake
that.
like time after time because I couldn't type swim fast enough on the. Again, this is why I don't do keyboard games, man. I don't. It's,
King's Quest 3. That was one of my first ones.
yeah,
I think I did 7. I did when they changed the
format.
Yeah. So that was.
But I
my
mean,
first
honestly,
King's
if
Quest,
we're
but
gonna
yeah.
go to it, the Fallout series were always good. I mean, I remember playing the OG top-down
Oh yeah.
little map version of Fallout long before it became the open world romp that Bethesda turned it into. Also Skyrim, any of the Elder Scrolls
Yeah.
game. Morrowind has always continually been awesome. Baldur's Gate has always been awesome. How do you pick the best though?
I know it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Cause like for me, it's like I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, so I have to say like Final Fantasy VIII, but I am actually probably even more a Dragon Age fan. So it's like Dragon Age is most definitely at the top of that one, but they're really close. I liked a lot of and I liked Earthbound. I really liked Earthbound when I was little. That one was a cute little story, and yeah, which I still have that too.
What are you thinking? King's Quest 3 still, or are you just
Oh no.
best RPG ever?
Best ever that was eventually destroyed under the weight of the ego of its creator. Star Wars Galaxies.
Oh yeah, Galaxies.
That game
Oh,
was
the
perfect.
combat upgrade.
So well done.
And then
Like you could be on a speeder,
Yep.
cruising through
Oh
Tatooine.
god, you need to tell that
and
story.
there's an Imperial garrison, like a little outpost, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna scream, "Long live the rebellion!" as I pass by these NPCs, these computer-controlled dudes,
right.
and then get shot, speeder blowed up.
Yep.
My bank accounts froze in the game. The Empire took all my money.
All right.
All I had was the shit I had on me when I
Well,
respawned.
the game gets disqualified because you were killed by a stormtrooper.
Yeah, it was
Because
crazy.
there's no way they're
I
hitting
couldn't-
anything.
I
They're not
couldn't go
hitting
through
anybody on a
starports
speeder
anymore.
bike.
Yeah, we
I had
couldn't-
to
We
sneak.
had to avoid it. And the thing is,
I had
because
to
I was
bribe. It was
I-
insane. I loved it.
LucasArts is breaking my heart, and they've been breaking my heart for many, almost decades now, because they refuse to give the people what they want. And that's
13.
we won a Knights of the Old Republic game again, man.
That
what
too.
the hell?
God, yeah.
That too.
Those
Fucking hard
two
is that?
games. Those two games were so good. Like I think it was like OG Xbox, the first Xbox, and the Xbox
Yeah.
360 had the second one. Brilliant games, amazingly well-made games.
I'm pretty sure BioWare would be perfectly fine with somebody else picking up Knights of the
Well,
Old
they
Republic.
started one,
They
and there
did.
was one coming
Yeah.
this year, and then they got canceled about a third of the way in.
Oh
so,
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's
well,
right.
supposedly it's not quote unquote canceled, but it's not being worked on.
Well, because
Sure.
they wanted them to work more on Dragon Age
No,
finished.
it wasn't BioWare.
It wasn't
No,
BioWare.
it was Vesper.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. They did
It was the people
transfer
who did
it
the
to somebody
ports
else.
of Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2 onto the modern consoles.
Right.
The remasters that really weren't remasters.
No,
Right.
they
It was
really
just
weren't.
they just
It was
changed
just-
the code so you could
it
play them on a
works.
PS5. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I
Honestly-
want for me 1313. They need to release 1313 and then continue with that Darth Maul game for the love of God.
Oh,
Ain't gonna
I
happen.
need
proposed one.
that.
The George Lucas proposed game
Yes.
that actually might not have been a pile of shit.
Yes.
So yeah, lots of cool stuff. So I guess if we're going to start kind of winding this thing down,
Yeah.
top 3 video games of all time. Go.
Oh my God. Shoot. For me, at least, or
Just you personally. What's
Just
your
me
3
personally?
best? That's the 3 go-to games, man. I know you said
Oh,
Dragon Age is in
Dragon
there.
Age, Dragon Age
You only get
Inquisition.
3.
I have to say probably Kingdom Hearts 2. That third one's really hard. I can't think. I mean, Final Fantasy 14, the Shadowbringers was amazing. Like though these are the games that get me emotional. So I
Okay.
think those are the
Josh, go. What do you got? 3 games that you got the
How
best
come
3
he
games.
gets time to think about it.
Cause it's funny when we put you on the spot.
Super
There's a lot of
Mario 3.
uhs and ums, huh?
Super Mario 3.
Oh, I'd definitely be on my list. That was a game changer. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
goes back to the movie conversation. What was that movie that with what's his name from the Wonder Years?
The
It's
Wizard.
The Wizard.
Oh,
It's
Wizard,
the Power
yeah.
Glove.
It's
It's
so
so bad. Just like the movie.
He bought a Power Glove just because of that movie.
I begged my mother like a fucking 8-year-old with a skin knee to get that fucking thing.
He was
and then
26.
you get it, and then you
he
get it,
bought
and you realize it's a worthless piece of shit.
Oh. No, continue with your thing.
Yeah.
I will get to it.
Super Mario 3.
Sure.
Metal Gear Solid.
Ooh, what, PlayStation or
Yeah,
yeah,
the original.
right.
Granted, the Twin Snakes remake for the GameCube is really good.
No, but I mean you got to go back to where it
Yeah,
started though. So yeah.
Oh, man.
All right,
And your
there's 2.
third.
All right, 3. This is where it gets kind of dicey for me.
Right.
Shit.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
have okay. What is the game you have a tattoo of on?
I do have a Kingdom Hearts tattoo.
All right.
I think that kind of settles it being.
If
at
you were
least
going
in your
so
top
far as
5.
to get a tattoo for a video game, I mean, I've seen people doing comics and cats
Which I
getting
mean,
movie stuff.
I have a.
I don't have any
Assassin's
video
Creed.
game tattoos.
I have an Assassin's Creed, tattoo, and I didn't
get
even
it.
mention Assassin's Creed this entire time.
Right.
Which I mean, I absolutely love.
Well, I'll tell you what. Super Mario Brothers 3, I think, was a game changer. Like
Yeah.
that game
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
along and that blew everybody's
I
fucking
played
mind. Holy
that
cow,
so
that was.
much.
God, I played that literally last night on my Switch. I was on
Yeah.
there. I was like, hey, look at that.
My sister, I found old Nintendo, fixed it up.
Yeah.
Found Super Mario Brothers 3, whole bunch of other games.
That's what they play
My
when
sister
she
came
comes.
into town and she saw the setup and she goes, "Oh, do you have Super Mario 3?"
Everybody remembers Super Mario
Yeah.
Brothers 3.
So we played that, yeah.
And now that's what you guys do. You have
Yeah.
to do it at least
Yeah.
once when she's visiting.
Tetris is also the next game on the
Tetris.
list.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
fucking Tetris music is still in your brain and will
Oh,
live
yeah,
there forever
always.
for free.
Always.
Rent free.
Third game that I would say is the greatest game of all time. Honestly, I hate to say it because it's cliche, but Grand Theft Auto. It really is.
I was tempted to go that.
Grand Theft Auto 5, it really is just this. You can literally do anything. It's got racing, it's got shooter,
Yep.
it's got puzzle games, it's
Yeah.
got airplane simulation. You could go to the damn nightclub and just hang out, listen to music.
During one Halloween, they did a
The slasher
a
event.
slasher.
Oh, they're doing
event.
that right
that's so
now.
good.
They're doing it
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Grand Theft Auto 5, just for the sheer amazingness that it's still relevant and people are still playing, man, after all
Yeah.
these years.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean-
over a
I gotta
decade,
give
that
it up
game.
for 5,
Well,
yeah.
even
3
at
console
the slasher,
generations.
The slasher event. It's a thing they only do for Halloween.
And
But what is the game that people are playing like crazy right now? Is Dead by Daylight, and it's the exact same thing.
Right.
Type of game.
yeah, but again, it goes back to the Grand Theft Auto is all
Yeah.
of those games
Yeah.
in one.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah, it's like Dead
And
by
it's-
Daylight's cool. It wasn't cool until they got all
No,
the movie
I-
franchise
I-
guys. And they still don't got Jason, so blow that game.
I played it once.
Same.
Most innovative gaming console or gaming system, whether arcade, PC, what made the biggest leap? I'm saying Nintendo Wii.
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast was a very severely underrated. That was the one that had the little cartridge, the memory card you could pop out and play the little mini LCD game on it too, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Sega really was trying too hard during that period.
Yeah.
You had PlayStation and you had Xbox right up its ass, and they were trying to pump these things out as fast as they could. They didn't let people love the Dreamcast like as long as they should have, because then they came out with that Saturn like right after that.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
and Sega CD came really quick, but Sega CD came out.
Yeah, it was the tail end of the Sega Genesis era, though.
But I mean that was the change right there. Is
when we figured out we could go to disc mediums.
Yeah. Because then after Sega CD came the Dreamcast. Dreamcast actually.
Saturn and Dreamcast.
It was a Saturn. I can't remember which one came first, but
Dreamcast.
Well, no,
was
that's
the
what I
swan
said.
song.
That's like the Saturn came. The Saturn happened, and then after that was the Dreamcast. And then that was when the PlayStation came out. Dreamcast came out first.
About like a month, I think.
It was very. I think they're right
because that was part
close.
of the problem with Saturn or whatever.
But
because that was also the time that the Jaguar came out and a whole bunch of them. Like everyone had a console.
Yeah.
Atari was trying to make its comeback. You know, everybody was trying to make a comeback. It's like nah.
And not only is it innovative, it is resilient. Our Dreamcast still works, and it works.
You can get
fantastic.
a Dreamcast modded with every game that they put out on it right now for like less than $100.
Yeah.
I mean, they turn them into little Raspberry Pis, basically.
Yeah.
And that's a steal of a deal, because that system was amazing.
Yeah.
It was just underutilized and that was Sega's fault. They just you pumped that Saturn out, and everybody knew it was crap. And by the time you got the Dreamcast, it was like, oh well, here's the better version of the same thing we just did. You lost it. The ship sailed, I think.
What about underrated game systems?
Underrated TurboGrafx 16, most underrated system ever built.
I'd say the GameCube.
GameCube would definitely be in there. It was a weird little game system, but man, it was a great game system.
It was powerful too. I mean, Resident Evil 4 on that for its time,
Had the little small ocular discs that was kind of pioneering, the little small ones.
Yep.
One of the greatest horror games ever made came out on that, the Eternal Darkness on GameCube.
Oh, yeah.
The game wasn't designed to mess with the character in the game. The game was designed to fuck with the player, which I thought was innovative as hell. Like you would sit there, you'd play that game at like 2:00 in the morning. A cockroach would go across your screen. You'd jump up with a newspaper and hit the thing, and you realize it's part of the game, just screwing with you, because you would go into these psychedelic sequences, or you'd beat the final boss of a level, and the whole console would shut itself down, and you'd get pissed. And by the time you were done screaming and throwing controllers, the game would power itself back up and continue on where you left off,
That's insane.
Just to hose you, man. Like, brilliant gaming at its finest, man. Very cool, innovative stuff. I agree. GameCube was definitely an underdog.
Yeah.
See, my answer actually covers both questions.
Oh, yeah?
PlayStation 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Biggest possible leap, most underrated.
Think so?
All because the programmers didn't know what to do with all 12 cores.
All the power that it had at that point in time,
You know, the military was like, yeah, give it to us. We'll use it for something.
Yeah, I think that they still buy them off of GameStop. They buy them every time because they use them as satellite processors now.
Yeah, because it was that powerful. I mean...
They built a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
When the world just wanted a Chevy pickup truck,
and no one knew how to drive it.
Right. Well, okay, I'll give you that. I mean,
but that was the thing. They made it, and they made it with a a pilot stick instead of steering wheel. That kind of equivalent. No one knew how to pilot the damn thing.
In the same token, though, I'd say the Neo Geo was the same way. You had this. They were the super pioneering company that was like, we can make a console that could take the actual arcade game, and you could plug that thing into the arcade game and take your progress home and keep going, which I thought was insane. Of course, games were like $200 at the time. I mean, it was the most costly system out there. So I think it was like $600-700 to get a console for the house. And you had to find an arcade that still had Neo Geo games still.
Yeah. But that really was pretty innovative. It was a great idea. And
Take the game
concept.
home
It
with
was
you
just
and keep
difficult.
going. And you didn't even have to pay quarters when you got to the house, which
Yeah.
was super cool. But again, I think Nintendo Wii I think that just set up the Switch and all these new consoles.
Oh, yeah.
That interactive controller was killer. I mean, how many?
I freaking love my Switch. Like, I
how
never
many
thought I
games of
would, but I
bowling
do.
did you play on the Wii? And that game came with the console, but
Yeah.
I played
Yeah.
bowling until like my arm was sore.
Yep. We had family events with the bowling.
Bowling,
and
boxing, tennis.
Yeah.
All those games were great. Those like little generic games that came with the Wii.
Yeah.
But that, again, set it up for a Wii U Pro and then the Switch, and God knows what they've got next coming around the corner.
Yep.
I think the Switch is probably the
I
coolest
had
thing
the
we've seen.
balance board at one point, which I mean was really cool because I had trouble with my balance at that point, and we
Oh,
did
yeah,
it
yeah.
every day to try and get my center of balance back, and we used the Wii to do that.
Biggest failures in consoles. Obviously, we've talked
Oof.
about Virtual Boy. We've talked about the Power Glove.
Yeah,
'Cause
honestly,
it's
I
so
think it stays
bad.
for me. It just stays with the Virtual Boy for me.
I think the PlayStation virtual reality goggles are a fail.
Yeah,
Just-
They keep trying though.
They
Yeah.
keep, at least the Sony's trying, man,
Yeah.
but like they
Yeah.
didn't just completely outright drop it after the first year. I mean, they pumped them out for the PS5.
Well,
So.
and they made the adapters for computers too. So
Right,
Yeah.
so at least you're kind of getting a multi-use out of it. But they just nobody wanted to back it up with a game. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's got to be like a. Could you imagine a VR Metal Gear Solid game? I mean,
like,
I'd be all over that shit.
was it the?
I'm just waiting for the Arkham
VR
one.
Iron Man game.
Yeah.
that supposedly was, and then it was like
it didn't happen.
Well,
It
it
was on
happened. It was just
rails.
crap.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
It was shitty.
It's just shitty. It was underthought. It was like ET, the next generation. It's like, here we
Yeah.
have some money. Let's just lowball it as light as we can. And plus, you're also talking about an Iron Man game that came out about, 10, 15 years too late.
Yeah.
If you had hit that
Yeah.
shit in the middle of Iron Man 1 and 2, yeah, it probably would have been a huge
Oh,
hit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, VR is cool on the PlayStation. I mean, they have a Star Trek bridge simulator. I'm
Oh,
the
yeah.
biggest fucking nerd Trekkie on the planet,
Yep.
and I don't even want to play that game. And it looks awesome. I just like,
I keep on
Meh.
getting offers off on Twitch for a sponsorship on, and I'm all like, no, I'm not playing this game.
what, Star Trek Bridge Commander?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think it's a game. I think you just basically kind of tool around on the bridge of the Enterprise D and the OG, but I'm like, I've been to the real one, so
Yeah, right.
the thrill is a lot. Like I said, I'm a diehard Trekkie, and I'm not spending $400 so I can play with this for 25 minutes and be over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Virtual Boy.
Virtual
It's
Boy.
the
That
Virtual
was-
Boy, yeah.
Virtual Boy, I don't know.
I
It-
loved
it-
it. I loved it.
What about the
But-
power pad? That thing was pretty useless. Had the track and
I
field
love
thing.
that.
Yeah, everybody loved it, but did you really use it? Because I mean,
Yeah. You kneel down and you just
Yeah,
slap
yeah.
it with your hands.
yeah, it was one of those things where you hit the paddles with your hands because everybody was too fucking lazy to actually
Yeah.
use the power pad appropriately. For those
Yeah, but it
younglings at
opened-
home, the power pad was that what was it? It looked like a Connect 4 board, didn't
yeah.
it? Just,
Yeah.
Yep.
And it had a bunch of
3x
buttons, but you knew damn good.
4. Yeah.
You had all those buttons on it, but you knew only 2 of them actually did anything, or 4 of them because you had 2 players you could put
Yeah.
on there.
But that was a prelim to DDR.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and DDR, I
We
played the
wouldn't have had DDR
shit
without
out
the power
of.
pad.
I freaking loved playing DDR. I still love playing DDR.
Most of the gun peripherals for any system always
just
ended
too
up
old.
worthless.
I
Past the
wanted
duck
them.
hunt
I
pistol.
wanted them so much.
Oh, everybody wanted
God
the
damn
Super
it.
Scope 6 gun, but nobody ever bought the thing. You remember that
Time
thing?
Crisis was one of my favorites.
I always liked if you're going for the machine gun games like T2 over there, that was
Yeah.
a big one. And then Silent Scope, I thought that was the coolest
Yeah.
one. You actually had to
Yeah.
use the rifle scope to find
Yeah.
the guy
Huh.
and kill them.
That's cool.
But I remember Lethal Enforcers on the older consoles. They would come with that big blue revolver pistol, and
Oh yeah.
you'd play with that stuff at like 1 or 2, like an hour at best, and then you never use that gun for anything. It's like Robbie the
Yeah.
Robot
No,
or
you-
Power Glove or anything else.
You cut the cord, and then you use it as a toy.
Right.
What game was it
You
that we
paint
did?
it black
that
with
we
your
got,
dad's
like,
spray
the-
paint and try not to get murdered by a cop.
Yeah.
It wasn't Resident Evil for the Wii.
Yeah.
It was Resident
Yeah.
Evil.
The
Yeah.
kid with a gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little gun thing. You popped the Wii
Yeah, you
mode
put the
in,
Wii mode into
and
it. It was
Yeah.
like a pistol grip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a
that thing was
pistol.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think the most useful add-on that I ever saw was the original NES Advantage controller. It was the little
Oh,
flat
yeah,
gray
yeah.
one that was like
Yeah.
a stick with the buttons.
Arcade
and you could,
controller.
yeah, and you could
Arcade.
turn the NES Advantage. It had the switches you could turn
Yep.
on rapid fire and shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you wouldn't have to sit there and button mash like crazy.
Yep.
Although I did just see yesterday, I got back on my Switch again. I was like, I wonder what old retro games have been added since the 6 months I let my membership run out. I just wasn't messing with it. But they have N64 controllers. You can get wireless N64 controllers for your Switch and Sega Genesis
Nice.
remote. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably get on and buy those because
I can play my PlayStation 4 controller on our Switch right now.
can you
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
'Cause
we
I tried
have
to play
we have an
GoldenEye on the
adapter.
dongle.
We
I
have a little
tried
dongle. Yeah.
to play GoldenEye on the Switch, and it's just that if you don't have that weird triangle controller,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it don't work.
See, that's the thing. I could never use the N64 controller. It was weird for
You had to
me.
use the middle one with your left hand, and your dominant was
Yeah.
the right or the left
Yeah.
side. Are you left or righty?
No, I'm a righty.
So you had to put your left was the
okay, so
stick,
that
and then-
now that makes sense.
You
No
ignored
one,
the
Yes,
whole
I guess,
third
but
prong over
no
on the left.
one ever explained to me why it was shaped.
If you
the way
figured
it
out how to
was.
work that controller, it really is the best controller ever made.
But
like
I have
the stick was
okay,
perfect.
I feel
Gauntlet.
No, it's not
Stupid?
stupid. It's just you had to fucking work it. You know, like work it to get it in there.
but
Gauntlet
no
Legacy.
Gauntlet Legacy.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Isn't
In
that like kind of
64.
like Dynasty Warriors? Would that be the next gen
Yeah, it was,
version of
it was
Gauntlet?
like Diablo.
Yeah, Diablo. Well,
Yeah.
Diablo was a little more involved than Gauntlet because Gauntlet,
Well,
you
yeah.
literally just were killing thousands of whatever in that room and then picking up a key to go to the next. I would think Dynasty Warriors was more of the button
Dynasty
masher.
Warriors was great.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I can't wait for the new one.
I think that one's got Gauntlet on it. We could play Gauntlet.
But yeah, new Dynasty Warriors, new Dragon Age.
Yeah. Again.
So, I have a question
all right.
to pose. Guilty pleasure game. The game you're ashamed to admit that you enjoy playing.
Toe Jam and Earl for the Sega Genesis. That game is so dumb. It's like it's Acme cartoon though come to life. Rocket skates, spring shoes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's another really great LucasArts game that's everybody talks about Knights of the Old Republic. They talk about Rebellion, all these games. But they have this old game called Zombies Ate My Neighbors,
Yeah,
and that fucking
Yeah.
game is awesome.
that
If you
game's
can-
a classic.
And if you could find that game's going to set you at least $100.
Yeah.
If you could find a copy, but a weird little LucasArts game that's underappreciated, but
yeah,
fucking fantastic fun game.
Outlaw.
Which one?
Outlaw, I think is what it was called. It was a LucasArts game. It was a Western.
Yeah, I remember that. It was
Yeah.
like cinematic cutscenes and stuff. Or
Yeah, but it was but you had like music that was very like Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
yeah, like Sergio Leone type
Yeah,
film going on.
underrated game.
I don't know if I'm necessarily embarrassed to play it, like to admit I play it. But I mean, I play Theaterism like obsessively. That's where the shame comes in, is that I play it every single day. I have to play it every single day.
Oh, you
and
know
I
what?
play it.
Going back to the PC era of games that were guilty pleasure, Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah.
If you never played one of
Bubsy.
those,
Who's
Bubsy.
Bubsy?
Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64. Like
Yeah.
you fight literally a duty monster in a bottom of a sewer
Yeah.
toilet, and he's throwing corn kernels at you the entire time.
Yep.
I think that was rare. It was right before GoldenEye, man, and it was like the one dirty, vulgar game that got loose on the Nintendo system.
That was the one game when I worked at Blockbuster that we had to
ID people.
Corporate made us ID
Yeah,
people.
yeah, it was a mature
Yeah.
title.
Like little
and-
kids
Yep.
would come up with it, and it's like,
Sorry, kid.
sorry,
Sorry.
kid.
Well, you
your
see the
parent
cute
needs to show up for
cartoon.
that."
You see the little cute
And we had
cartoon
to tell the
character.
parent, if the parent walked up, like, this is a mature rated game, right? How
I don't
mature?
think.
Mature.
Yeah, that Conker's Bad Fur Day is another one
Yeah.
I don't see ever coming out to the Switch Greatest
That's
Hits
the one I was
library.
thinking of.
Even though it outsold everything. I mean, they sold.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. They sold millions of copies of this game to jack-offs like me. But at the same time, trying to find one now on a secondary market, just
Yep.
even loose, is going to cost you $150, $200.
Yep.
Easy.
Oh yeah.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yep.
It was just a rip on a bunch of cult
Oh, yeah.
popular films and cult classic stuff and pop culture and just great game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, what else would I play as a guilty pleasure? There's not a lot out there. I mean, there's not really a guilty pleasure game. I think gaming itself is a guilty pleasure. I mean, you're literally deciding I'm wasting 2 hours of my life and accomplishing nothing.
I mean, The Sims.
The Sims.
Yeah, you do play
That's
The Sims
that's a big
lot.
guilty pleasure, because not only is that like a game that you can absolutely lose hours and days
Sure.
and weeks in,
Mhm.
it is also the pinnacle of microtransaction hell.
Oh, sure. Sure.
You do play The Sims a
Like
lot,
people
though.
will
I
drop
have
down like
noticed
$600,
that.
$700
Yeah, see, that's
on like
that's
just 1
where
year's worth of Sims content.
Yeah, that's dumb. I
It's
couldn't do it.
nuts.
The last game that I played from that company was SimCity 2000, which was a brilliant city simulation game.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It still holds up to this day. If you've never played SimCity 2000, excellent game. That's the game that we had in junior
Look for
high.
the old stuff. Like we had Sim Life, I think, is one of the ones.
We had was that the zoo game where you built
where you
basically
built
a
the
planetarium?
animal?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and you had to have the animals survive or it goes extinct. So
And
you
then
have
Sid
to
Meier
think
came
about-
along with Civilizations, and I
Yeah.
could never get my noodle around those.
Yeah.
They look good, but they just seemed like such a time-consuming pain
Roller
in the
Coaster
ass.
Tycoon. That was always a fun one.
Although I did play that Jurassic Park simulator game where you built your own Jurassic Park, and that was fun for a day or two. You know.
But yeah.
I played Bus Driver Simulator.
Oh, I go
Yeah,
on the.
Yeah.
I go on there and look at what games are like Power Wash Simulator. I'm like, why would
I
you want to be
kind
a
of want to get the Power Wash one because I love watching Power Wash videos.
And you can get the Back to the Future add-on to it, where you can watch the DeLorean in the
Oh, really?
town square or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, it's just I don't know. It's just satisfying to see something like get cleaned, like rugs get cleaned.
I don't know what
and-
genre it is, but remember the Marvel Alliance games?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
those are
yes.
great. Those
Why
are
haven't they
top
brought a good
downs.
one of those out? Yeah, I know they did kind of a half-ass one a year or two ago, but it was
Yeah.
garbage. The Seven
They-
Sons or whatever. Or the
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was card
It was
based.
that
Yeah.
one was hard based. That was
those
different.
Those were isometric beat 'em ups, is what they call
I
them.
got you. Yeah, screw that. They
Yeah.
need to go back, like, because they did 2 X-Men games on the 360.
Yeah, and then they did
X-Men and
Marvel.
Ultimate Alliance, and then
Yeah.
Ultimate Alliance 2, and then they did a Marvel Alliance, and they just dropped the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, we played the crap out of those.
Marvel
I still
Ultimate
have those.
Alliance.
Yeah.
Those games were fucking awesome because you could change the costumes to the ones you liked.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yep.
And even that was a follow up to X Men Legends.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's what it was called
Yeah.
on the old GIS system. I knew it was like 2 X-Men.
Legends 2, Age of Apocalypse.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
You had to
It
go
was
back and
so
do all
good.
the X-Men Xavier Mansion missions and stuff. When you come back in between the levels, there was new stuff at the mansion to get.
It actually had voice
So-
acting.
That actually leads into a game that never was. They were making a Marvel MMO,
Right.
Yeah.
but they stopped making it. But out there somewhere, someone has the code still sitting on their computer. The only thing they built in the game, like the engine runs and everything, but the only level they got around to building was the X Mansion.
Nice. So you
That's
could go
awesome.
online and download this thing and at least see what was
Well,
going to.
You can't, but
Oh,
well, if someone ever released it into the
sure,
wild,
sure.
But yeah,
But it
out
still
there somewhere, someone's
survives.
got on their computer, the
It-
digital representation of the X Mansion
That's awesome.
and code for an MMO that will never exist.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's about it for the video game episode. I
I
think
mean, we could just keep on
Well,
going on and on.
Actually,
so
I was going to say amount of time and the fact that we've got video games and a separate section on video game movies. I
Yeah.
can split it into 2.
really, how
I'll just
long
get
did it
your-
go?
We're at 2 hours.
Oh shit! If we just add another 15 minutes of kid
Yeah,
here
I'll-
rambling, we can cut this thing together and
Well,
make 2
I mean, I
episodes.
can do that just as is. I'll just get you to record a separate opening for video game movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, yeah, that was about it. I can't think of anything
So,
else for
yeah.
video games.
So close it out.
Yeah. All right, Brother John, signing off the Trick Talking Meat podcast with Allie, and we'll catch up with you next time for part 2, video game movies.
See you later.